Hello everyone, this is Matthew Optimus. Welcome back to my channel. Today is March 31st, the last day of March, and today I'm going to be looking at a Subverse video called "Did a Morality Crisis Create the Culture War?" And I'm sorry about that, that's Twitter. And I'm going to be doing my response to this video, see how good this video is. Tim Pool is doing this video. He is an independent journalist, YouTuber, who sees all sides of the story and is not biased like mainstream media is, like NBC and CNN. And I want to see how good this video is. I might pause it to give my opinion about something. So let's just see how this goes.
So many of our decisions, actions, and intentions are dictated by our morality. We pick up our morals from our culture, whether it's religion, philosophy, experience, whatever. Your goodness or righteousness comes from values from your deep-seated beliefs. That's not to say your morality can't fluctuate or change, though. Today, we're taking a look at some recent studies that illuminate some of these ideas behind how morality and society influence each other. But before we get started, make sure you follow us over at minds.com/subverse to join our distributed newsroom. The goal of the channel is to give you a place where you can share stories, help fact check, and pick stories you think we should be highlighting every day. Now, if you want to support this video, just share it on social media to help spread the news.
I think I'm planning on doing that afterwards, after I finish this video. Subvert, no one, just to be honest, I don't recall any independent YouTubers or independent media sites talking about the R word campaign or the first person campaign or person first campaign. No one's ever talking about those. Not yet. I mean, I hope they do, but I hope Subverse does it. I hope Subverse can take a look at the end of the R word campaign and person first campaigns. It involves people with disabilities like myself. So there we go.
Our first story concerns religion. It's been around for a while, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, but it still tells us a lot about our psychology as a species, even with different deities and rituals. Last week, a study published in Nature magazine took a deep look into religious beliefs within civilizations and found that complex societies precede moralizing gods throughout world history. The study...
I'm an eclectic pagan, and I believe in spiritual gods like Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. I believe in Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, Atlantean mythology. Yeah. I'm not really religious like Christians and Catholics and Muslims and Jews. I'm more spiritual in a way. Which is no big deal. I mean, there are atheists out there that will probably debunk my spiritual religion, like the Amazing Atheist. I mean, I hope he never really talks about spiritual religion like eclectic pagans. He hasn't made a skeptic video about that yet. I hope he does. I want to see if he can change my mind. I want to see if he can change my mind in getting me to walk away from the whole eclectic pagan thing. Oh, sorry. But it probably won't work because I'm still going to be spiritually eclectic pagan like. I don't worship gods or anything. I don't worship them. I don't pray to the gods of Olympus and Egyptian stuff and underworld and all that. But I do know they're around somewhere. I mean, I can't prove it, but I gotta believe in something.
Not only shows an association between the two, but reveals that these moralizing gods follow increases of social complexity. Specifically, vengeful gods show up in religion after a civilization reaches a population of around 1 million people.
And there's a lot of gods out there that are vengeful, like Zeus, Kronos, Hades, Osiris maybe, Odin. Okay, it says here that moralizing gods are not a prerequisite for the evolution of social complexity, but they may help to sustain and expand complex multi-ethnic empires after they have become established. By contrast, rituals and facilitate the standardization of religious traditions across large populations generally precede the I don't know what that word is. The appearance of moralizing gods. This suggests that ritual practices were more important than the particular content of religious belief to the initial rise of social complexity. I'm pretty sure Tim Pool's going to read the same thing, but it is a good part here.
According to the study, moralizing gods are not a prerequisite for the evolution of social complexity, but they may help to sustain and expand complex multi-ethnic empires after they have become established. By contrast, rituals that facilitate the standardization of religious traditions across large populations generally precede the appearance of moralizing gods.
Proceed.
This suggests
Precede.
that ritual practices were more important than the particular content of
precede. Yeah, thanks, Tim.
Religious belief to the initial rise of social complexity. By analyzing this relationship in over 400 societies across 30 regions from the last 10,000 years, researchers were able to examine over 50 measures of social complexity. These include the sizes of a society's largest settlement, the presence of a formal legal code, and various measures of supernatural enforcement of morality, i.e., a god who watches and punishes based on selfish actions. According to
I mean, I read history books about that, about God's punishing people that go against their religion and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of people were afraid of the gods back then, and during mythology, they pray to Zeus, Ares, Hades, Osiris, Thoth, Horus, Set, Odin, Thor, Loki, Kronos, Uranus, Gaia. They worship the gods, and they're scared of being punished by them if they do something wrong. If there's like a flood or a natural disaster, they believe that the gods are punishing them for something, and it can be pretty interesting and pretty chaotic from these people. Yeah.
Live Science. One of the authors of the study, Patrick Savage, said it was particularly striking how consistent it was that this phenomenon emerged at the million-person level. First, you get big societies, and these beliefs then come. The research suggests that religion plays a functional role throughout history to help stabilize societies and get people to cooperate. In smaller societies where everyone knows each other, it's easier to keep an eye and hold people accountable to their actions. As the society grows to a size where
I would rather hold someone accountable for their actions. If SJWs don't get their way, they don't admit responsibility, and I wish that more people call out on the SJW's rhetoric, and I hope that SJWs take responsibility. Dark leftists are never kept in line. They are purely evil, and they are not and they're barely held accountable. They're praised by the mainstream media, praised by other dark leftists and other dark leftist Democrats. And every time that the dark left demonizes an opposing view, they're praised for it. The dark left needs to be put in check. Like radical feminists, SJWs, Antifa members, Black Lives Matter movements, they all need to be held accountable for their actions because they're jerks, they're bullies, and they need to be held accountable for it.
It's impossible for everyone to know each other. Researchers saw the rise of beliefs in a powerful supernatural figure keeping things under control. Some people have seen these kinds of studies as a dig at religion.
It's like you worship ghosts or vampires or something. It's like if Optimus Prime was an actual god and people worship him, that would be interesting. Or if they worship Unicron or Primus, and someone did something wrong, Unicron would punish them by devouring their planet. And if someone did something wrong and Primus punishes them, they'll be sent to the well of Primus or something I'm not really good at my Transformer history, so and mythology for it. Imagine if people worshipped the Sith and not the Jedi. that would be weird in a interesting kind of way.
But Savage assures that's not what this is about. We are not saying anything about the value of religion, Savage added. We are not saying it is good or bad. We are saying it has a deep and consistent relationship with societies throughout world history.
Mm-hmm.
Religion is deeply intertwined with what it means to be human, for better and for worse. You don't have
emotional or logical, maybe. It depends on how they go about it. When they worship gods, it's always emotional, but with logic, it's very, very rare. It's like, is it possible that logical people get punished for not believing in the gods or something? If there are any people that were punished by their logic, let me know in the comment section down below. I could be wrong, so I hope I admit that I'm wrong. I really hope I do. Sorry.
To be religious to know murder and theft aren't good for a healthy community or a sustainable society. Religions have come and gone, but many of the morals and values that come with them tend to remain the same. But a new study found some fluctuations do occur over time. The study published in the Public Library of Science shows that between the years of 1900 and 2007, our morals have shifted. According to the conversation,
a lot of our morals have been shifted just for the wrong reasons. You know, morals can change if you believe in a big ideology like open borders, you know, and, policing someone's speech can be a moralizing thing, I guess. It's very complicated stuff.
the authors of the study say we are more compassionate than 100 years ago, but more judgmental too. To analyze this, the researchers used 5 moral grammars with their own associated vices and virtues. The moralities are purity-based morality, which when violated invokes disgust, authority-based morality, which prizes social order, fairness-based, which disdains bias and prejudice, in-group-based, which esteems family and community loyalty, and harm-based morality, which values compassion. The authors point out that people of various ages...
I can be very compassionate in some situations. But there's a time and place to be compassionate and a time to be realistic. And face the facts and not let your own feelings impair judgment. Believe me, I struggled with that when I had a social life with my special rec program, and when I left, it cost me my social life because I was too compassionate, too empathetic. Maybe I was too far left in that particular moment. And I'm trying to learn from that.
Genders, political beliefs, and personalities employ these different moralities to varying degrees. People on the right are more likely to value moralities of purity, authority, and in-group loyalty. People on the left value the moralities of harm and fairness. Women specifically tend to endorse the compassionate, harm-based morality more than men. There's actually some real...
Women are more compassionate than men? I'm compassionate, and I'm a man. Well, I'm more of a man boy since I'm cognitively 12/13. Well, I mean, I didn't know women are more compassionate. Women and men think differently, after all, so we can't balance everything by gender. So,
interesting work done about this by Jonathan Haidt and his associates. So, if you want to explore your own moral foundations and get some insight into your beliefs, you can take a test at yourmorals.org. That information also goes towards studies that will give us a deeper understanding about how human morality works. The researchers of this particular...
I'll be right back. I'm going to pause this for a second. Sorry about that, everybody. I had to use the bathroom. I have bladder problems. It happens like every several minutes or seconds, depending. I know it's TMI, but I had to express myself. Freedom of expression, right? So, on to the video.
Study suggests 2 seemingly contradictory narratives of demoralization and remoralization. While our societies have become less prudish and more judgmental, our culture has become more censorious, more easily outraged and offended, and excessively self-righteous. To find out...
Yeah, a lot of radical feminists and SJWs and Black Lives Matter people and a lot of Islam apologists tend to get offended over things that don't agree with their worldview and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of that on YouTube. YouTube is calling them out for it. By the way, I have the fruit leather. Hope you can hear the video while I'm recording this. Hold on, I gotta get this thing here. Never mind.
About how morals have changed over time, the researchers used a field of inquiry called culturomics. Culturomics uses massive text databases to track changes in cultural beliefs and values throughout changing patterns of language over time. These changing patterns reveal how people make sense of the world and themselves. The Google Books database has over 5 million...
You know, when I was watching NBC, I thought the Republicans were bad and Democrats were good. I thought NBC was calling out Donald Trump's behavior as a bad person, but when I started watching YouTube videos from Amazing Atheist, Sargon of Akkad, Sidney Watson, Paul Joseph Watson, Ashton Birdie, I've come to the realization that it's not the Republicans and Trump that are the bad guys. the dark left are. Now, I don't care for Donald Trump. I said that many times in other previous videos, but I do support him on one thing. He opposes political correctness, and I support him in that because I oppose political correctness as well. And hold on, I gotta open this thing. It's really annoying. You know, and the PC culture right now is just really bad because you'll believe anything. And when you see something you don't like, you just get outraged. You want to take it down so you can feel better about yourself. And I don't want to be that person. If I get offended, I just shrug it off later on. And I'm trying to do that. Like, if someone calls me the R word, I would shrug it off. It can be used as a metaphor to call someone out. It's no longer used to mock someone with disabilities anymore. It's like when someone calls me the R word, I would just not get offended. I don't want them... Hold on, if you can hear me with this. I don't want anyone speaking on my behalf to keep people from saying that R word to me. I can handle it. I can take offense. I can take being offended. I can learn not to take offense. That's what it means. Moving on.
Million books that have been scanned and digitized, providing information on the ebbs and flows of popularity for certain words or ideas. Studies using books in English show increases in individualist values through increased use of me and decreased use of us. Studies using Chinese books have shown similar declines in words associated with collectivism. Before this study in the Public Library of Science, there had been only one culturomic study of moral language. It showed a decline of frequency in words like conscience, honesty, and kindness over the 20th century. So,
the dark left needs to start showing some kindness to everybody. Not just people that they agree with. It's sad, really. People would be unkind to people that disagree with them. Sorry.
Suggesting that ideas of these moral virtues became less relevant to the culture. The authors of this recent study explored these changes in much greater depth. According to the conversation, the researchers extracted the relative frequency of each word in a set for every year, standardized it so that the year in which this frequency peaked scored 100, and then averaged the words in that set. The trajectory of these averaged values over time reflects broad changes in the prominence of each form of morality. The results were that basic moral terms became scarcer in English language books as the 20th century progressed, fitting the demoralization side of the narrative. Around 1980, a dramatic rebound of these terms began, suggesting remoralization. The different moral foundations show different trajectories when the data is laid out. A graph shows that...
Wow. Interesting graphs. Prominence given to 5 moral foundations from 1900 to 2007. 2007 was the year that Transformers came out. I think it was in 6th or 8th grade, 8th grade at the time. 6th or 7th. 6th or 7th grade, I think. I think it was in 7th grade at the time. It was like when I had my first love interest. Yeah, well, this is an interesting chart. I hope you guys see this.
The green line of the Purity Foundation shares similar plunges and rebounds as the basic moral terms. Sacredness, piety, purity, sin, desecration, and indecency fell until 1980 before picking back up again. The gray authority-based morality line declined slightly for the first...
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Let me get that there. Authority 2007, 66.57. Authority... it's going back down and back up, all the way to 2100. The importance of overall morality over the century is shown in the black line. Very interesting stuff. I like it. It's pretty interesting. Learning something.
Half of the 20th century then rose sharply in the late 60s, which the authors attribute to a crisis of authority in the Western world, and receded just as sharply in the 70s. The orange in-group morality line shows the clearest upward trend throughout the century, with 2 bumps showing around the time of both world wars. Lastly, the red harm-based morality line shows a much more complex trend, but was similarly affected around the 2 periods of World War, but suddenly rises during the 80s. The authors of the study see the decades since 1980 as a period where moral concerns experience a revival. The source of the revival is all speculative, though, with some attributing it to conservative governments in the US and UK. The authors say that might explain the rise of the typically conservative purity-based morality, but not the even steeper increase in the typical liberal harm foundation.
Dang.
Others might point to the rise of social justice concerns or political correctness to critics as the basis for the...
Fuck political correctness. Fuck social justice. Fuck them both. I hate them. They hold people back. They police people's speech and expressions. Fuck them. Pardon the middle fingers, guys. I can't help it. I really hate social justice warriors. They're just so mean. They even tried to lie about Geeks and Gamers, and Geeks and Gamers, D-Day Cobra is not intimidated by them. D-Day Cobra can be very sarcastic. They can use their own words against them by being with jokes and sarcasm. I'm not really good with jokes in some areas anyway, so. Go D-Day Cobra.
Upswing in harm-based morality. The surge of harm language during wartime may point to the late century rise being linked to the so-called culture wars. Certainly, the simultaneous rise in conservative purity and left liberal harm moralities since that time is a recipe for moral conflict and polarization. The researchers also acknowledged the limits of using culturomics as a window into culture. English language books are dominated by American and British publications, and they can't isolate patterns specific to certain English-speaking nations. Unfortunately, the methods they used didn't allow them to look at terms from the last decade, but regardless, it still points out some really...
I think people should learn old history rather than being with indoctrinated history, you know? I rather learn about a lot of cultures rather than this whole multiculturalism bullshit. It's not my thing. So I learned a lot when I was younger about the history of medieval times and certain languages, I think. I can't even pronounce them. I think I may have, though. But I could be wrong. I think I did. But, I don't know.
Interesting and significant transformations within our culture. But what should we take away from these apparent changes, if anything? The study adds to an emerging body of research on historical changes in human culture. So far, it has shed light on the multiple dimensions of our morality and the complex narratives of the dynamic changes. The different foundations have distinct trajectories that correlate with historical conflicts and developments. Perhaps understanding the societal variations over the decades can help highlight social changes in present day, maybe...
There's this Instagram guy or Twitter thing that showed up. I really want to apologize for that. I'm probably going to get to that soon. I'm sorry you had to see that. And the guy that posted it. He didn't even realize I was making this video. My bad.
Even challenges to come. Modern moral psychology tells us that our individual morality is influenced by experiences that lead to our personal development. Group morality comes from our shared beliefs and concepts and is supposed to regulate behavior within our culture.
Interesting.
Many see the political divisiveness that plagues us as a moral incompatibility. But even the far left and far right within our culture have more in common morally than they would want to admit. Unfortunately, their differences may result in an escalation.
The dark left with far left values do tend to deny their actions at times. And it's pretty hard for them to do that. I mean, I guess I was in the far. I guess I am far left and trying to keep people from saying words that they're not intellectually or factually accurate, like cognitively accurate. You know, they would tell them to act like adults when they can't, and I try to keep them from saying it. Far leftists like myself, in this case, tend to silence people's speech in the process. I'm trying to learn from that. You know, it's difficult. You know, people with disabilities can't act like adults because we mentally and cognitively don't know how. And, you know, there's a moral issue to that, you know. I mean, I'm kind of no better than SJWs and political correct people in this particular moment, but I oppose everything else, though, from the dark left and from SJWs and stuff. God, I hate being on the far left in this particular moment. It really bugs me. I hate it. I hate being on the far left. I hate it. At least I'm admitting it. And Tim Pool is center left, and he opposes authoritarian leftism. That's good. I think I'm proud of him for calling them out for it.
Of the culture war, but there are many researchers who believe that things will actually get better and become easier the more we learn about human psychology and our moral foundations. But with that being said, make sure you follow us every Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. for new videos as we explore various issues, including issues like this. We're working on something called the Distributed Newsroom, and we want you to get involved.
Okay, it's pretty much ended. So this whole moral thing is just really interesting. I'm actually learning a lot here, and I probably won't remember any of this, or I can't spit them out, you know. But honestly, it's really interesting, and I'm learning. I've learned a lot from Tim Pool on this situation. But if you want to see the actual video without my screen recording thing here, I'll add the link to the description box down below. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel and press the thumbs up button. Press the notification bell for further content. I know I didn't give out very much information. I guess it must be a weak response. I'm not really good at talking intellectually on everything. He just explained it all for me. He did all that for me. So it's not going to be perfect, but I think it was pretty interesting on the moral concept of religion and other ideologies and stuff like that. I think there was. I had to pause the video to go to the bathroom, so I didn't really think about it that much. So, anyways, that's it for this video. I'm the autistic YouTuber Matthew Optimus. Peace the frell out, and have a nice day, everyone.